Welcome to Security Token Insight, brought to you by the Security Token Academy. The security token industry is here and will provide a key foundation for the evolving financial internet. The Security Token Academy provides insights about this new era for security token enthusiasts, investors, and issuers. The security token industry is here, and you can get involved. Hi, I'm Amy Wan. Adam Chapnick is on vacation. Coming up on today's episode of Security Token Insight, in your security token investing news, details on a new STO involving tokenized real estate debt. We've got an expert interview with Benjamin Tsai, the president and managing partner of Weild Financial. Plus, a look at our new series, Global Capital Markets and Security Tokens with David Weild, and highlights from our first meetup in London. That and more is coming up on this episode of Security Token Insight. Now it's time for your security token investing news. The world's first regulated security token on a national stock market is coming to the Seychelles Security Exchange. According to a recent article from Bloomberg, the security tokens will involve tokenized shares of Merge Exchange and will be traded alongside existing stock of the company. The Merge Exchange has also received regulatory approval to launch its own security token exchange. More details are expected to be released shortly. In other news, Smartlands, a UK-based security token platform, has joined the European Crowdfunding Network. The partnership will allow further growth of emerging technology across Europe and help speed up mass adoption of the asset tokenization process. Smartlands' latest live STO involves a new student housing project in Nottingham. You can learn more at smartlands.io. And finally, Boston-based OpenLTV has announced an upcoming STO involving tokenized real estate debt. The STO is expected to go live this summer and will be available to accredited investors in the US through a Reg D offering. It'll also be available to foreign investors through a Reg S offering. Investors will earn income through fractional debt secured by US real estate. Returns on investment are expected to be in the range of 8 to 12% annually. Now, back in April, the Security Token Academy attended Crypto Invest Summit in downtown Los Angeles. The event attracts security token and crypto enthusiasts from around the world. The Security Token Academy team was there interviewing some of the biggest names in the security token industry. And that's where we met Benjamin Tsai. He's the president and managing partner of Weild Financial and co-founder and CFO of the LA Blockchain Lab. In this expert interview, Benjamin sits down with our own Adam Chapnick to discuss everything from derivative trading to whiskey barrel fractionalization. Take a look.
So, you guys do a ton of interesting things, but for people who haven't frequented Brentwood, the beautiful confines of Brentwood, maybe tell us, what is Weild Financial? What do you guys do, and how'd you get started?
Sure, we're an asset management company. So in terms of my background, I spent 15 years in finance across Asia, Tokyo, Hong Kong, Singapore, and Taipei. And so my focus has always been on the finance side, buy side, sell side, and so forth. So 6 months ago, I got up together with David Seymour, who's our founder, and we put together an asset manager. So he's had a crypto blockchain-focused venture cap company, that a venture cap fund that he's brought over and as part of our firm. And we're now also creating other asset management products there, asset management products and also investment strategies.
Very exciting. Okay, now you and of course David are very familiar with this space, stretching back into the ICOs, shall we say, but maybe we won't focus on that for the purposes of today.
Yes.
But what is it about, I'm going to stick to the security token space, what is it about that it holds promise in your mind?
From my perspective, I come from a very regulated space. So in my 15 years as a banker and as a buy-side person, I was regulated in all of the countries that I named, plus the U.S. So you
feel comfortable.
I'm very comfortable being regulated.
Right.
I have a license, be registered. So the first thing we did when we put together our organization was we went and registered ourselves as a RIA, a registered investment advisor. So we're regulated under California law. As we grow bigger, we'll get to the SEC level also. And this is something that I think as asset managers, we should be doing. And very recently, I think Anderson Horowitz, the
that was the
A16Z,
big news.
They announced that they were going to do that, and we did that 4 or 5 months ago. So just putting
saying,
it out there,
just saying.
Yeah, just that.
Wow.
So with that, we're using qualified custodians. We're using auditors and so forth. So we're very careful in what we do with our funds, our assets under management, and how we look at how we manage assets.
So that being said, security tokens just sort of fit hand in glove with that.
Sure.
Because the entire process from issuance to secondary all has to comply.
That's right.
So you guys, that's no problem. That's how you roll.
That's right. I think right now people feel like it's a very burdensome and onerous process with many, many layers to get security tokens working. And I don't think people feel that in the traditional equity space or in opening bank accounts and so forth, because it's already set up. All the interface, all the infrastructure, all the UX, it's all optimized, simplified, and so forth. So people don't feel the stress there. They're feeling the stress because we're doing it for the first time. There's also a bit of fragmentation in our field right now in security tokens, where there are a lot of different platforms. You have to onboard with every single one of them, and as you move to trading platforms, you got to onboard with all of them, and so forth in many cycles, where in the traditional finance world, a lot of that is simplified. You onboard to a brokerage account somewhere, and they're connecting you to all the exchanges, for example, and so forth. I expect that consolidation or that simplification, or even just simply partnering up to happen a bit more as time goes.
Yeah, that makes total sense. You guys also have some interesting vehicles that you're toying with. Let's say.
Sure. Yeah. So we're exploring a number of things. So we've launched an investment index that looks after the large cap to try to give clients a feel for what a beta exposure would look like. We'll be launching a series of different indices, which hopefully will give the client a better feel for looking at cryptocurrencies. I think a lot of people look at just Bitcoin. Where is the market going? Just Bitcoin. That may not be necessarily the right exposure. We're going to try to find different angles to be able to show clients what the crypto market is going. We're also looking at derivatives. That's a new market that's up and coming. We're seeing people trade derivatives in Bitcoin right now. We're starting to see nascent marks in ETH derivatives, and of course you can call up an OTC counter. They'll make you a derivative in whatever fashion you want on whatever token you want. But overall, I think we're starting to see that. And the third series, which I think we had discussed yesterday, that was interesting.
This is my favorite.
Yeah, we're looking at real assets that we can tokenize that would make a lot of sense. It would take advantage of the tokenization process. I believe that there are a lot of cash flows and yield curves that could be liberated using the token format, so more people can have access to it. We can talk about things which are not boring, things that I do all the time, which is real estate and so forth. And we can talk about things that are interesting, which we talked about yesterday. We're looking at whiskey, potentially doing something with whiskey in terms of tokenization and so forth. I've spoken to people about brand new whiskey, the aging process. The interesting way of talking about it is we would hold barrels, and the boring way to say it is we're basically providing balance sheet to distillers for them to make their business more efficient. The other direction is more on the collectible side, where I've talked to friends who are going to Scotland to buy 20, 30-year-old barrels and aging it for another 5, 10 years to try to pick up the gain in value from that perspective. And that smaller volume.
Like Series D barrel.
That's right, like much, much later in that barrel. So, obviously the starting point is high, but the theory is that the ending point is even higher as long as nobody goes and drinks it before then, and it doesn't all evaporate away. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. Now, in those kinds of instruments, would those fall? Those would be security tokens or not?
So we're envisioning all of these things basically in fund format, and we would issue securities tokens and what we call digital funds around these things. So they're token representations of funds, and the funds would have these different types of investments. And we haven't launched any of these yet, so we could talk about it to our liking.
Well, I love that part.
And the concept is that these tokens would then be tradable on security token exchanges. We have a very close relationship with the top 3 in the US and many others overseas also. So we would like to list them, have them be available. Just back to the whiskey example, we can have the 2018 vintage, we have the 2019 vintage. You can trade fractional barrels with other people thinking certain barrels are better than others, and have all that debate. And I'm not a big drinker, so I'll leave it to the experts to trade those tokens.
Yeah, amazing. Well, I'm excited by that because I think a lot of the fun in discussing the possibilities about tokenization tokenization is trying to game out what are people going to fractionalize.
Sure,
and here you are
sure.
on the cusp of the actual execution
Sure.
of whiskey barrel fractionalization, which I love.
Sure.
So today whiskey barrels, tomorrow Pokemon cards.
We can do many things. That people have talked to us about racehorses.
Racehorses,
People have talked about many things. Well, with the racehorse business, as far as I know, a lot of it is really for fun, for hobby. You know, people pay to play. It's very much a vanity sport.
But isn't that already fractionalized in sort of the real world?
In the real world, it is.
I don't
to a
mean
certain
the real
extent.
world.
Yeah.
I didn't say that.
Yeah.
In the traditional world.
In the
let's call
traditional
that.
finance world,
Thank
yes,
you.
it is to a certain extent fractionalized also.
Yeah.
But I think it is more of a vanity project rather than actual practical investments.
Yeah, there's no fundamentals.
From us, we're an asset manager. We're looking at things that we can invest in, and we're doing whiskey really because we believe that there's profits to be generated in whiskey. 10 years ago, people didn't invest in barrels of Japanese whiskey, and now we have a shortage. And that could have been a great investment opportunity in retrospect, and we're trying to catch that on the way forward.
Interesting. So looking at Wave for the rest of 2019, what significant things can we expect from you? What are you most excited about?
We have the full interview with Benjamin on our website, securitytokenacademy.com. Click on the Interviews tab and then click STA Video Interviews. Now live on Security Token Academy's website, a new expert video series, Global Capital Markets and Security Tokens, with none other than David Weild. Part 1 covers the state of the market. David is the founder of Weild & Company and is the former vice chairman of Nasdaq. He's also a 30-year veteran of Wall Street. In this new series, we cover the growing intersection of security tokens and traditional finance, as well as the benefits of tokenization. Here's your preview.
In your mind, what are the applications of security tokens? How do they fit in with today's finance world?
Well, I think first and foremost, I think we're going to be able to strip out costs from the issuance of securities and the trading of securities in general. And when you do that, you also enable certain kinds of securities that heretofore have probably been cost prohibitive. And what I mean by that is, I think the frequency of distributions can be increased very significantly. Why is that important? It's important because retail in particular values higher frequency distributions. So if you look at a traditional bond, it may pay twice a year. If you look at a closed-end bond fund, there are two forms, ones that pay quarterly distributions versus monthly. The monthly ones that trade on the New York Stock Exchange and Nasdaq actually trade at about a 4 or 5% premium to those that pay on a quarterly basis. So I suspect that what we're going to see is the tokenization of certain kinds of assets in a way that they will pay weekly distributions, maybe even daily distributions at some point.
That's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how that curve is shaped when you go from quarterly to monthly to weekly to daily in terms of the premium you were describing. What do you think about that?
Well, if you're a retiree, you're gonna live week to week. You're managing your budget that way. So having something actually hit your account, a distribution hit your account on a weekly basis, is something that I think that retirees would really value. So I think it will happen. I think it's just a question of time, and I think that it will be highly valued by at least some subset of the market.
Yeah, no doubt. So why is this a preferred method as opposed to issuance of traditional securities? What benefits did the security token have over a traditional security?
Well, you can hold it directly in a cyber wallet if you so choose, as opposed to through a security, traditional security account, which would be held by a broker dealer. But I think that the real advantage is that there are a number of, in certain markets, there's an application layer that is wedded to the token. And so, for example, you can automate all of the legal and compliance checks that are done in private markets to be able to trade securities in private markets, stripping out a lot of the cost and some of the constipation from having tokens or securities, if you will, move from the hands of one investor to another. So there's a a big uptick in ease and efficiency for certain kinds of applications, and so my suspicion is that that's where we're going to see most of the early adoption.
What are some of the real-world uses where security tokens offer an advantage over traditional securities?
Well, if I was to apply it to asset classes, if you drive down the cost of tokenizing or securitizing an asset, for instance, we might be able to, we've already actually seen the beginning of this, tokenize a particular building. And it would then allow, instead of somebody having to buy a basket of buildings through a real estate investment trust, you might be able to actually say, okay, here's an interest directly in the Empire State Building or in a tower, the Sears Tower. So you can then, the old cliche, which is, location, location, location. It will actually allow investors then to put together portfolios that are very much location-based type of real estate. So, for example, whether it's warehouse facilities or multifamily office or multifamily residential or office properties. And so as a consequence, I think it will create greater overall efficiency of capital allocation to the real estate market. So I think it's the beginning or the dawn of a brave new world in certain types of asset classes, as opposed to forcing you to buy a big basket of properties where you don't have control over the actual building selection within a portfolio.
Got it. Now, when it comes to issuers, what do you generally recommend? That an issuer issue a security token or start with a traditional security and maybe tokenize later?
Be sure to check out this new video series on our website, securitytokenacademy.com. Did you know that you can get the latest industry updates in our free weekly newsletter, the Security Token Edge? The newsletter is packed full of insightful information about the security token industry. To subscribe and get your free weekly copy, go to our website, securitytokenacademy.com. We also invite you to check out the Digital Wrapper on Medium. It's our new behind-the-scenes series with the teams building out the security token industry. These are in-depth interviews covering a wide variety of topics. You can view these when you follow us on Medium. You can find out more information on our website, securitytokenacademy.com. The Security Token Academy held its first ever meetup in London in partnership with FinCross International. The sold-out event took place inside the 12 Hay Hill Club, and our illustrious panel included none other than Daniel Coher, co-founder and CSO of Tokeny, Henry James, Deputy CEO of FinCross International, Graham Rodford, CEO of Archax, and Briege Tinelli, Head of Europe for Securitize. The meetup was sponsored by Merrill Lynch Private Banking and Investment Group, Clifford Chance, and FinCross International. And by the way, all three companies are corporate members of the Security Token Academy. To learn more about them, go to our website, securitytokenacademy.com, click on the membership tab, and then the corporate directory. I want to remind our viewers that if you have any questions about security tokens, be sure to email us, and we could answer them right here on a future episode of Security Token Insight. The address is insight@securitytokenacademy.com. Be sure to include your name with your question, and one more time, it is insight@securitytokenacademy.com. All right, folks, that is it for today's episode. Be sure to follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Telegram, and Medium. And do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube page so you don't miss out on any of our videos and expert interviews. I'm Amy Wan, and before we go, another big thank you to our Platinum corporate member, Merrill Lynch, and all of our Gold corporate members as well. We invite you to learn more about our corporate members by clicking on the Membership tab and then click Corporate Member Directory. For everyone here at Security Token Academy, thank you so much for watching.
You want to learn more about security tokens from the top leaders in the industry? Be sure to visit our website, securitytokenacademy.com, and click on the Interviews tab so you can stay connected.